Water. Earth. Fire. Air. Long ago. Just kidding. Alright. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Age Like Wine, where we talk about older forms of art, movies, video games, TV shows, you name it, where we see if they've aged well or not. But, like people's taste in wine, just because we might like it doesn't mean you have to. We're your hosts,
Matthew,
Peter,
and William, which is me. Today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Avatar the Last Airbender, Book 1, Water, aka Season 1. And for this special episode, we actually have a special guest, our good friend Henry. Why don't you introduce yourself and say why you're with us today and why we brought you here?
Hey guys, I'm Henry. I loved Avatar growing up as a kid, and I'm actually a part-time airbender. I'm a pilot.
I love that. I love that so much. Please keep that in. That's
sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face.
No, that's amazing.
That was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
No, keep going. You get it.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, do I just keep on going with
Yeah, just keep going.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'm actually a part-time airbender. I'm a pilot on the side, and I like to fly when I have the chance, and hopefully I'll be an airline pilot one day.
It's nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. And like I said before, we're talking about Avatar. And just a little bit quick facts about it is that it's created by two creators, Michael Dante DiMartino and then Brian Konietzko. I don't know where these origins of names are, but another significant person in the show is head writer Aaron Eaz. And with Avatar, we follow the adventures of Aang, the Last Airbender, aka the Avatar. And he's traveling with his companions Sokka, Katara, Appa, and Momo so that Aang can master all four elements to bring back balance from the world after the 100-year war caused by the Fire Nation. And I'm going to leave it to Peter for his next bit.
So we're deciding to do Avatar the Last Airbender for the next 3 weeks, actually, because there are 3 seasons for the show. And we decided this would be a really good time to do it because the next reincarnation of the Avatar is Netflix. And now that it's released on Netflix, we decided that'd be a great time to review the show. But on a serious note, we decided that we're going to end the first season of Age Like Wine with the 3 seasons of Avatar because we're deciding to do a format change because we felt like the current format that we've had for the show up to this point has not been what we initially envisioned when we started this podcast.
Yes, that's right. I just want to say that this change is going to be really good for us as the recording people. We are really enjoying making this podcast and we want to make it more authentic to ourselves. And this is a way that we're going to do it. We're going to make it more discussion based instead of me just begging these guys to give their opinions. And I'm really looking forward to it. And it's starting at a really good spot with Avatar here. And hopefully you see through these next 3 episodes how we improve discussionally in figuring out how we want to talk, how we want to communicate our opinions in a less interview way and in a way that lets us put our personalities more into our discussions. So really excited about all that. And Avatar is a super interesting place to start because all 3 of these guys are huge fans of the series and I'm the only newbie. So this was my first time checking it out and I got to say that I definitely have strong opinions on it. I've been enjoying the show and hopefully that comes across in how we talk about the show from now on. But I want to start off this discussion with what are y'all's histories with the show? I know it appeared on Nickelodeon 2007? Y'all know better than me.
2005 February is when the first 2 episodes.
The show's old, dude.
It is.
They aired the first 2 episodes during then.
That's crazy. But
yeah,
what are did y'all watch it live in time or what was
we did.
Yeah, we did.
Me and Peter over here, If you guys don't know, we're cousins. So we used to watch a lot of kids TV shows back in the day
Disclose
together.
too much information.
I mean, it's alright. We haven't said last names, so it's not important. But anyway, we watched the show a long time ago when it first aired, and I thought it was really cool as a kid because it's kind of like that first kind of like anime-esque drawing for like an actual American TV show instead of like Dragon Ball Z or something. So I mean, we watched it. I thought it was really cool back then. I mean, I'll let Peter talk about like his initial thoughts, but we I continued to follow it even back then. So
Yeah, I always liked the show too. It was a really fun show, and like William was saying, it definitely had like a lot of anime-esque things. I agree, especially with like the four elements and how they were using it. And it's something that I never really appreciated when I was younger was like the characters in the show. Which rewatching this first season at least, I realized the characters really carried the show in my opinion, and the world building is actually pretty phenomenal for the first season. So those are my thoughts. What about you, Henry?
Yeah, so I remember seeing the trailer for this when I was growing up, and it actually got me so excited. Like I remember like I did not want to miss like the season opener at all. So like I had a couple alarms set, like wrote it on my calendar, and I actually watched the episode that came out. Um, the show, like Will said, had a lot of anime inspirations, but what really drew, I guess my younger self into this was that it was also inspired by a lot of Asian cultures and identities, especially like with the airbenders being like Tibetan monks and like Fire Nation kind of being like Japanese imperial era.
mm-hmm.
And
That's a good
yeah,
point, actually.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's definitely like a
Because
lot of Asian cultural themes, I think.
yeah, if you
No,
didn't
for
know,
sure.
William and I are actually Asian, and Henry's Asian too. So
Yeah.
it's a really
I
good
mean,
point Henry brings up there.
And
that's
I'm a
culturally Asian.
mystery. Yeah, I have Asian friends.
Yeah, that's true. We raised him to be the man who he is.
It's true. But yeah, that's actually a really good point, Henry. Can I be honest with you guys about my history with Avatar?
No,
Yes.
Okay, well that's it.
spell it.
No, legitimately, I didn't watch the show because it felt like this is gonna sound really lame. It felt like a bit of a
say
copy
it.
of Pokemon without
Wow.
What?
its use of elements. I just was like, wait, like this is Pokemon. It's got water and fire and rock and
Are you kidding me right
flying.
now?
I'm
Dude,
not
this is
kidding.
a
I'm
joke,
not
dude.
even
What the
kidding.
heck?
I'm not even kidding. I thought it was like human Pokemon, and I was like, I'm
Human
not about it.
Pokemon?
Human Pokemon. That's what I thought it was, and I was not about it. Also, it was very anime, and that wasn't an art style I really knew super well. I'd watched like Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro and all that, and I really enjoyed them,
Yeah.
but not much of an anime guy. But I definitely can say I feel like I've missed out by not watching it when I did, until now, which I kind of, jumped on the bandwagon with Netflix. But I'm really glad that people pushed me to do so. It's been good.
We
Been
did
good.
pressure you,
Yeah,
peer pressure you into watching the
good peer
show.
pressure. Good peer
Like
pressure.
Yeah,
Pokemon though, really?
I thought it was
yeah.
like
I don't know. That's like
So
legitimately.
interesting.
I don't know what to tell you.
I'll save the curse words for later, but I kind of want to describe that in this,
Yeah. We
as
can,
as a blank take.
a a bad take, a bully. You're gonna bully me for it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe.
But as with
Just kidding.
all great television shows, they must start somewhere, and I think we should start with the pilot episode, which is there's a lot going on, a lot happens to set the world up, and I think we should talk about it because if it hadn't done well, the show wouldn't exist today. So, what are our thoughts on the first episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender? Does it do the show justice? Do you think because personally, when I watched it, I thought the first episode was kind of kind of silly in a way that the rest of the show isn't exactly.
Well, okay.
Um,
I guess I'll talk
but yeah,
first.
yeah, go ahead.
So we've had conversations about this, or at least I've voiced my opinion on the whole season one in general of Avatar: The Last Airbender. this is like my 4th or 5th time rewatching the series. So I've rewatched the series a lot, and I recently did rewatch this season 1 of the series, or book 1, like I don't know, a few months ago, half a year ago, and when I watched it half a year ago, I really didn't think the series, at least season 1, I didn't think a lot of it aged well whatsoever. Like animation, voice acting, those things I just didn't think were good. I'm just gonna be honest. And rewatching it again, I thought it actually was worse than I remember. Personally, that's what I
Yeah.
think. But I think the show, I mean, the show was made in 2005, and I think as this first season went on, it actually got progressively better. And I think the last 3 episodes of the whole season are just, it's a really good finale, in my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree. I agree. Those last 3 episodes like are worth all the build up. But
Anyone else want to share their opinion?
yeah, anybody else have any opinions on like the first episode onward? Going on, how's it do?
I mean, I look at the first episode, and I mean, I was rewatching, the series, of course, like leading up to the podcast, and I thought it was like an all right introduction. I mean, obviously they kind of like leave it so that you don't really know who Aang is, and you just kind of discover he's like the Avatar, but you don't know like his like reasons for like why he's like who he is. I mean, of course, I think you get like a good introduction to like Katara, Sokka, how they are initially, and like a lot of these characters do mature, like I think very realistically throughout the series, which makes them better characters. But even through their intros, like it's all right. Like I was captivated by it as a kid, and I feel like I have like less of an attention span now. But like even then, like I really liked the show and thought that it did really well in setting up the whole world, the whole adventure of what bending is and everything like that. Initial narration was, it's like iconic. So I
Yeah.
always really liked it as a kid. I mean, obviously the episodes get much better as the series goes on, even in the first season. But yeah, Henry, what do you think?
Yeah, so I actually I rewatched it last year. I think sometime last year, maybe 2 years ago. And I thought that like at least the first half of the first season was pretty cartoony, not gonna lie. It really fit the mold, I felt like, of a cartoon at the time. Even when I was a kid, I think I felt like at least like it would be a cartoon that I'd enjoy watching because I was probably 12 that time. Wait, 2005. So I was
2005,
7
you
at
were
the time.
12?
We were
I was
young.
Yeah, I
young.
was
We
about
were
to say,
young.
yeah,
I was
dude.
7 at the time,
We
right?
were young.
Yeah, we were definitely really young, but
Little
I
babies.
mean, we were the demographic that they were trying to reach,
Speak for
and
yourself,
I guess
man.
they did a really good job then.
They definitely reached y'all.
It did.
yeah, but I definitely agree that the first half of the first season, at least, could have been a little bit better, and hopefully they do a better job with like the remake.
I don't
But
think
Let's
they
not
are.
let's not talk about the live
Yeah,
action
let's
remake
not talk
yet.
about the live action remake.
I don't. I personally think it's gonna be garbage, hot
Yeah, same.
garbage. But
Hey, we'll see.
you
We'll
never
see.
know. You
We'll
never
see.
I
know.
mean, I just want more like animated like versions, like maybe just like a side story, like anything. I feel
Maybe
like
they
the
do.
creators are probably like
They could do
tired.
OVAs of like
They could do
comics.
Roku's story.
Yeah, they
I
could
mean,
do
they already
Roku's
did
story.
Roku's story.
They could do more of Roku's story.
Hey,
All right, we're
We
not
had
getting into
enough.
this,
We've
man.
had enough
Yeah,
of Roku's story.
we didn't have anything from
we'll
Roku's story.
get into that on another episode.
Yeah,
I
maybe
also
actually see the heroic things he did.
I wanna also ask y'all. Y'all have seen all the episodes, obviously, and you watched this a long time ago. And I always feel this way when I watch a show back. Is you see your characters from the beginning or whatever, and you're like, oh geez, like Aang used to be so annoying or whatever. Did y'all feel any of? Do y'all feel any of that when you watch this, or are you like, they grew up so far, but that's still genuinely Aang, or is it like, ew, like I did not like his voice then, or something like that? What do y'all think?
Like I said, the voice acting, in my opinion, like they were settling into the characters, so I'm not gonna blame them too much in the pilot. I think that the show actually does a really good job of setting up the characters in general with the script and everything, because I think from the get go you get a good idea of like Sokka and Katara as characters, along with Aang. Like Sokka's like that, he's put in a place of responsibility as like the head leader of his tribe, but he's still young. So he's like trying to act tough, but he really isn't. He's just still a kid. Katara is like the motherly figure, trying to take care of Aang when they like initially find him in the iceberg. So I think it does a really good job with that. Aang's a very playful kid who has kind of a dark story, but I mean at the same time he's still a kid. So I think the show does a very good job of establishing these characters like right from the get go. Personally,
Any thoughts from you, Henry? What do you?
Yeah, so
think? Yeah.
I what was it? Lost my train of thought.
Okay, well, I'll go say my stuff then. Yeah, I kind of forgot like Sokka is like one of my favorite characters of all time in this show, and I forgot how much like he's very like shaped by like the environment he's in like initially, since like he's like the oldest like male guy at like the water tribe, and it's like very small. Honestly, like when I first saw the episode again, like I forgot how small like the southern water tribe is, but like yeah, like Sokka's like kind of sexist initially, and I forgot about that. And of course, like he's immediately like humbled when he goes to like Kyoshi's island or whatever. But yeah, it's stuff like that. Katara initially is like she's like a much like better character as like she learns about the world, but she's like very like optimistic initially and doesn't have like a realistic like viewpoint of the world. And then sometimes it helps like in the Haru's episode where she like brings back like hope within like the prisoners who've been there for like a while.
look,
But
it's a
yeah,
rock. You
yeah,
can
it's like
bend.
oh hey,
It's cool. You can bend.
and
Look,
they
we
got
have power.
I forget the voice actor's name, but the dude who plays Haru's dad is like a very prolific voice actor. He played like what's his face, like Morpheus, the guy who looks like Morpheus, but
Jared
he's like
Leto.
in Samurai Jack. What? Jared Leto?
Oh, he's Morbius, might be.
Morpheus.
Yeah, I
Morpheus.
thought I heard Morbius might be.
That's Lawrence
Right.
Fishburne. No.
No. I'm saying there's a character in Samurai Jack that's supposed to be like an homage to that character, to the
Oh, I
actual like
see.
Lawrence Fishburne's character.
Okay.
He also played pretty sure he also played like Panda Bubba from like Shaolin Showdown. Like that's
Oh,
voice
that
acting.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know
Interesting.
you're
Like
talking about.
his voice is like always the same. In, like
Yeah, that guy's
every movie.
iconic voice actor.
Yeah.
Very deep
But
voice.
yeah, where was I going with that thought? But yeah, I mean, I think voice acting, like the first episode is definitely like the weakest because it's like mainly focused on like those three like characters, like the youngest characters. So of course, like they're, I mean, I don't know if they're all young, but I know like Sokka's voice actor and obviously Aang's voice actor, like really young
They're all
when
pretty
they're
young.
playing. Yeah. So yeah, even Katara's voice acting. So it does kind of seem a little bit like, I don't know, like dry in terms of like their acting capabilities, but they definitely like get into the role as more episodes go on.
Definitely.
And I yeah, initially like watching it, it was kind of hard to listen to, but I felt that it was pretty good. Like overall, like they definitely get into the role. I don't know if they really voice in anything else anymore, like those three in particular. Apparently, Appa and Momo are voiced by the same voice actor, which I can't tell at all because he's just making animal noises the entire
That
time.
voice actor is an amazing voice actor.
I think he does a great job.
He
Yeah.
voices
he
all
does
the
great.
he voices all the animals in like the whole Avatar universe, and he also voices like actual characters like in Legend of Korra. So,
Really? Like who's he voice in there?
Unalaq.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Wow.
Or not Unalaq. Whoever the mayor, not mayor. The water vending guy in Republic City. I don't remember.
Tarlock? Is that Tarlock?
No, I think it's Tarlock. I don't remember. No, I don't remember. But
Yeah,
he
okay,
voices
whatever.
him too. That's like his only voice role though. So
That's interesting.
What
He
a
does a
shame, man.
great job on Appa and Momo, though.
he
I gotta
does. He really
say.
does.
I really like
Yeah.
the.
You can't tell it's the
voice
same
doing.
voice actor. It's just that.
Yeah.
No, you can't. He's just making a noise. I mean, like, yeah, you can't really tell.
So on that
But
topic of characters, sorry to interrupt you, William.
oh, I mean, I was gonna let Henry kind of like talk about his thing. What I mean, whatever. Yeah, just screw Henry. Let's go with the next part.
Henry can answer this question first. How about that?
All
Yeah.
right, sounds good.
So on topic of characters, who is everyone's favorite character from just season 1?
A single character, or can it be multiple characters?
You can have multiple, but try to keep it down to like 3, I would say.
All right. Well, I guess first and foremost, I really like Iroh.
Oh yeah.
I think everyone's list has
Yeah,
Iroh.
it's hard to
Yeah, come
not
on.
like Iroh for sure, but I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, he's just like that guy that spits wisdom and proverbs and metaphors left and right, trying to show Zuko the light. And
I agree.
yeah.
Can
And
I go
then,
next?
oh, I was gonna say my
Oh,
second
go for it.
person.
Yeah, way to interrupt him.
Oh, bully.
Wow. But actually, this might come as a surprise to all y'all. But Zhong is actually like my other character that I really like.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, he's a great character, especially the voice acting. I mean, I know
Can
you really
you-
like the voice actor.
Can you explain, Henry, why John? He's not a very big character as far as like presence, but he is good and he does a lot. But I'm curious what your reasoning is.
He's just a really dynamic character. I feel like his character has been through a lot, especially with the war, and as he's learned and harnessed firebending, he eventually learns that, and maybe like even takes like a really pessimistic viewpoint on firebending, but he deserts because he only sees firebending as a way of destruction. So he really brings a new perspective to firebending that not a lot of people thought about, I guess. At least not a lot of firebenders thought about.
I agree,
And
because it's like it doesn't. Or sorry to interrupt you, but like it kind of like shows it's not like black and white in that whole scenario, like Avatar. Because I know like initially the episodes are kind of make it seem like here's the Fire Nation, they're all bad. Here's everybody else, they're like good because they're trying to prevent the Fire Nation. But like Zhong is like he actually has like remorse for his actions, which is like real in like this kind of world. It's
Yep.
like it's not like they're all evil. It's like never, people are just evil for the sake of being evil. It's like
They have
even
reason.
like Iroh, yeah, like Iroh, like they kind of like delve into that idea, but with Zhong, it's like more explicit in that this guy deserted the Fire Nation because he actually regrets his actions. He regrets being a firebender, which is what he says to like Katara. Like, he says he wishes he wasn't like cursed with firebending because firebending just destroys, whereas waterbending you can heal, it brings life. But yeah, I agree with you.
yeah, it brings
Plus,
a lot of moral ambiguity.
no, go.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah,
dude.
it brings. I was just gonna say it brings a lot of, or not a lot, but just some moral ambiguity into the show, where a lot of kid shows it really is just black and white. There's good and evil, but here it's not really cut and dry like that. It's a spectrum, and a lot of people fall anywhere upon that spectrum.
Who's your? Do you have a third character or no?
No, it's just those two
Okay.
that I wanted to talk about anyway. Yeah.
Peter, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I like my boy Zhong because he also taught my boy Admiral Zhao.
Yeah,
Which
you
is
want to
one
talk?
of your favorite characters.
Yeah, you want to talk about your favorite character?
My favorite, yeah,
Peter?
okay. I'll just keep it down to so Iroh's obviously in there, but my other favorite character for the season's gotta be Admiral Zhao. I'm gonna be honest. I know everyone's probably hates on Admiral Zhao, but I like Admiral Zhao a lot, personally.
Can you defend why he's kind of a jerk?
He's kind of a dick, yeah.
I
Say
like
his
General
name
Zhao.
one more
I like.
time.
Sorry, I like Admiral Zhao a lot because he serves as a perfect. Well, he's a rival to Zuko, right? And for me, Zuko is such a great character by the end of the show in general. Even by season 1, you can see him developing because he has like a mentor figure in Iroh and everything. I just feel like Admiral Zhao was just placed there, in my opinion, to act as a example of what Zuko could have been if he just let his hubris, narcissism, and all that stuff just kind of get to him. Because Zhao was this very, I wouldn't say competent because he's not really competent. All he really does is kill a moon spirit, but even that is like terrible. So
I would kind of disagree with that point. Like, I feel like like Zuko, like even when he's like initially established, maybe that's because he always had like Iroh as his mentor figure, but like it didn't seem like if from an early age, if Zuko never had Iroh, he would probably be like Admiral. How do you pronounce it, Henry? Is it Zhao, Zhao,
So
I think they pronounce it Zhao
We say
in
Zhao.
Zhao,
the series.
Zhao? Okay,
that's better.
okay.
Yeah,
Show.
kind of
So I
J
just want
sound.
to butcher it for our audience. But yeah, Admiral Zhao. He's definitely like the you know example of like hubris, like a guy who's literally just there just to get like his name in the history books, and he always emphasizes they'll be writing about Admiral Zhao the Conqueror or something, or Admiral Zhao the
Yeah, I like that about
Indomitable.
him because he kind
Of
of
course
doesn't
you
know.
do.
He knows what he's doing. He thinks he's like, he thinks he's hot shit and everything, and he just thinks he's the best in the world, and he thinks his destiny is to kill the Moon Spirit. And I just like, for me at least, like characters like that because like
You sympathize with him.
when he dies in the series,
He dies.
yeah, the spirit like drags him away. Remember?
Oh
I like
yeah,
how
yeah.
Zuko was like, "Take my hand." He's just like, "Nah."
He's just
He-
he's yeah. I feel like he's definitely like that. I don't like the term for it, but like that image of like what Zuko would be if he was so prideful and like very focused on like his quote unquote honor.
yeah, I
That
feel like
like
it's. I only say he's similar to Zuko in the sense because their goals are kind of the same. Bring
yeah,
honor
yeah.
to themselves,
Mhm.
and Zuko for different reasons. Obviously, Zuko for because he thinks his father will accept him, and Zhao because he wants his name in the history books, and they also have the same goal of capturing the Avatar.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a really good mirror, and they're also pictured as rivals, which I also like a lot. Even though I don't know why Zhao, who's like an admiral, is losing to Zuko in like an Agni Kai. Like I just don't understand that. But
Zhao is like, I think one of the most like evil characters.
he really
Like
is.
there's very little that's like keeping him as like, oh, I understand his motives. He's like, nah, I'm gonna kill the moon. It's like, dude,
Sure,
what?
he's very I think that's like a part I liked about the character is that he's very consistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's definitely consistent. That's fair.
Like he's definitely like the main antagonist of the first season because he's like you initially think it's like Zuko, but it's like Zuko might be the primary antagonist for Aang, but there's a primary antagonist that affects like both of them, which leads to kind of like their pseudo team ups, like when like the Blue Spirit or even like the last episode, when the Water Tribe is being conquered, it's like Zuko is taking away Aang from Zhao, but not necessarily like working against Aang himself, but more like because he wants to prevent Zhao from taking, the Avatar. Like he has to work with him a little bit. But Matt, or actually Peter, do you have any other characters you want to mention besides Zhao and Iroh before I give it to Matt to talk about his characters?
No, let's just go to Matt.
All right, Matt.
Finally.
Keep it short.
Yeah, I'll keep it short.
Keep it
No,
short.
but
Hey, shut the hell up.
Just like
so
Will.
this is saying what we're all thinking. No, so my favorite
I'll kill you,
character.
Peter.
This is my first. This is my first time watching, and I really, really like Zuko. I thought Zuko was super cool. Obviously, I loved Iroh as well,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
love.
Everyone loves Zuko.
No, Zuko was. I'm not here to be contrarian like you. I really enjoyed Zuko. I thought his like inner turmoil. He was like angry all the time, but also didn't know like how to direct it. He felt like very childish, which I really thought was cool. Like he's because he is just like a kid. So is Aang, but Aang gets to like act out his like child childness, but
Yeah.
it's really interesting how Zuko is just like very single-minded, just like I just want to get the Avatar because my dad's mad at me, and I want my dad to not be mad at me. It's
Physically
very
Please don't be mad.
disfigured me. Yeah.
I'm
Dad, are
sorry,
you still
Dad.
mad?
Please.
Dad, please. Yeah, I thought he was really cool, and then I really like the last two episodes where he's like he goes to kidnap the Avatar, and then he's like, now what? He just gets so confused. It walks into a blizzard. He's like, whatever, this will work. I'll figure it out. I can firebend. It's
True.
fine. It's really funny to me, but I really like Zuko. And as far as like smaller characters, I like the Warriors of Kyoshi. I thought they were cool. How people are like still like excited about the Avatar and still celebrating an older Avatar. I think that's interesting. Really good world building. But yeah, that's me. What about you, Will? Favorite character?
I feel like we've like mentioned all the favorite characters, but there is actually one character no one's mentioned. I'm pretty sure no one's going to be thinking about, but one of my favorite characters from season 1 is actually the captain on Zuko's ship, because during his episode where they talk about Zuko's past and like why he actually is, he like literally like says like he actually calls out Zuko and all his like bullshit, and it's like very valid. Where he says stuff like you only care about yourself, you don't care like about anybody else besides yourself with like all your
Oh
actions.
yeah.
You don't care about the crew. And I was just like, man, I don't remember this guy like initially before watching the season, but I'm like, this guy really like he also serves to like humanize like the crew, because the first couple episodes it's just kind of like no names, like blank faces, but then you see this character, he has a defined face and he's actually like speaking out, since they're all being led by this like 14-year-old kid who's very single-minded on like capturing the Avatar. And then like from their perspective it makes sense like why they're pissed off at Zuko, since they're constantly having to like damage their ship, like deplete their resources just so Zuko can like achieve his honor. And from like our audience perspective, we're kind of like, well, why is he so fixated on the Avatar? And then Iroh takes that time to explain to the crew why Zuko himself, like why he's kind of complicated as a character, and that's why I really liked him. And yeah, like that's pretty much like my little thing on it. But I don't know what we're gonna be moving on to next. But
I
yeah,
think next probably if anyone else has anything else to say before I ask what's next.
I want to say about your thing, Will, is
yeah,
that I really like that too because it makes them feel less like clone troopery, where they're just like, this is
right,
fine, we'll
yeah.
go into this, whatever. It's like, dude, this sucks. We don't want to go. We're all gonna die. Why do you do this to us, please? It makes them actual
Yeah,
people.
honestly, it was like I was kind of hoping, like in the episode, I think it was like the Blue Spirit episode, where like Iroh and then the rest of the crew are just having like a party. You know, like they're all like playing instruments and like dancing and stuff, and like Iroh singing. Like I
Oh
love
yeah.
that part
That's actually a pretty
because it
good
kind of
part. Yeah.
shows like yeah, like it just shows like the crew is just like chill. You know what I mean? Like they going along with like Zuko's kind of like mission, and like I guess like they have to support him in that way, but they also like just really like hanging out with Iroh because he's just like the coolest character in the show besides like Zuko. And like seeing that is just like they're not just like this strict military regime. It's like they're people who have fun, and unlike the other Fire Nation benders who are like there to kill, they're just like having fun, you know,
It's
stuff like that.
they've
It really
like
humanizes them.
yeah, they've like acknowledged that their mission is worthless or stupid. It's like,
Yeah,
"Hey, why are we doing this? We just get to chill out and play music and follow the prince who's like a total nutcase."
but
It's
at least the general's
stupid.
cool.
The general, yeah, the general's pretty dope. True, true.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you want to move on to next, Peter?
So next, I think we should talk about favorite episode and a favorite moment that happened in season
Okay.
one.
Deal.
If you could try to keep it, you know, one or
We'll
two.
keep it as long as we want. Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
bro.
I'll do what I want, but I'll start
As far as
since
I'm concerned.
I was. This is my first time. Y'all have had some time to hone your craft and decide what is best for you. For me, I really liked the Blue Spirit episode. I thought it was really cool. It showed some real stakes. Um, I thought it was kind of. I mean, it made sense that Katara and Sokka both got sick, but it definitely felt like a way to get them away and let Aang do something on his own. And when he
True,
went
Superman
to
yeah.
boy.
when he went to do something on his own, it went horribly wrong. But I really enjoyed that episode because I thought the Blue Spirit was really interesting. I thought Zuko. I mean, this is spoiler, but we're spoiling everything. I thought Zuko as the Blue Spirit was super interesting. Like
What?
Mm.
Zuko was the
it.
blue spirit. Wait a second.
Can you believe it? But
Yeah.
no, I thought that was really interesting. It added more layers to his character than just like I will do this. I want this for the Fire Nation. It's like he doesn't just though, you know. He's got other shit to do. And I thought that was really interesting. Plus there were frogs in the episode that were a very important part of it. So,
I mean, but
I like
honestly,
that.
Yeah, they were licking frogs, which
did
is might be
Zuko
That
honestly
isn't
Zuko only
something
did
I'm
that.
about.
Zuko only like got Aang out because he didn't want Zhao to happen though.
I mean, no, I it makes sense. It's just showing that like it's more than just the Fire Nation thing. He's made it fully his mission. It's not just about the Fire Nation,
I mean, it
which
makes
it never
sense.
really was. But
I mean, it makes sense because Zuko was sent on the task to find the Avatar, and then it was kind of a joke mission because his father just
right,
didn't
because
want him
the
there.
Avatar was gone forever.
Yeah, so the fact that he found him was like, oh, what the? Okay, okay, that's pretty cool. And he's like, I'm in too deep.
I think what that episode like really exemplifies, as well
The
as
show.
the storm show or the storm episode, is
Right.
that Zuko is like kind of like this morally gray character, you know. And I think those two episodes like really like showed up for that type of stuff, because in that the storm, obviously, like Zuko is like kind of disregarding the crew, but then later on in the episode he saves a crew member, and then when they're given the chance to kind of like pursue the Avatar, he's like, no, let's care about the crew this time. And then even that episode where he's trying to, you know, this is the guy he's been trying to capture the entire like time he's been out in the sea for like 2 years. He kind of like lets him go, or like he saves him. You know, like it shows that even though he's on his mission, he really doesn't want to do it, but he's kind of being forced to because because of his honor, and he wants to go back home. But like in his heart, there like this is like a main theme throughout the show. Spoilers, but like he's really like the character who has like the most like inner conflict with like what he wants. Like he doesn't really know what he really wants and how to do it. And those two episodes really introduce that idea, kind of really like introduce us to this like inner turmoil he has. But yeah, I agree. Those are really great episodes. Before, I mean, I'm not gonna talk about my favorite episodes yet, but I'll leave it to somebody else.
Yeah, let's go on to Henry.
Agreed.
All right. Well, this might not be a surprise, but my or I guess my favorite non-finale episode was The Deserter. Like for all the reasons I said above with Zhang Zhang. But I think it was a really cool episode that also kind of alluded to the Karate Kid movies. Either the old one from like 19
Jaden
whatever,
Smith.
and even the Jaden Smith one, because Zhang Zhang has Aang doing like seemingly useless tasks, like the breathing exercises, controlling a burning leaf, stuff that Aang doesn't really want to do. He wants to learn firebending, whereas Zhang Zhang is just trying to discipline Aang into doing these mindless tasks, just like how the Karate Kid master, both Mr. Miyagi and Jackie Chan, uh, trying to teach discipline to their respective students.
I dig it. I gotta say, the part where Aang burns Katara, like that was one of the hardest parts to watch. I'm like, oh, that's messed
That's
up.
pretty graphic for a kids show,
Yeah,
honestly.
definitely cruel to like show that. But I thought that was super powerful, and it set a lot of groundwork for the rest of the show because they have to get Aang from hating firebending because he's like learned this super powerful thing, but he's like, I'll only hurt people with it. And he has to bring it all the way over to mastering it in later seasons. Like I think that's a super important episode, and that's a super important part of it.
I
So
think
I
it's
I dig
I
it.
think it's a really interesting concept because I wonder how, like before the 100-Year War, because like firebenders are kind of seen as like those people who committed genocide and everything. So it's kind of seen as like
Right.
the big evil to like every other tribe. So it's pretty interesting to see like what the perspective on firebending is or was before the 100-Year War, because this is like a post or during a war climate, right? So I think everyone would say like, oh, firebending's evil if you're not a firebender. So I think it's pretty interesting that they also explored that topic at the same time.
That's a really good point. What do you think, Henry?
Yeah, I think They do kind of dive into it a little bit more, maybe like book 3 when they go into Roku's past. But actually, no, yeah, they dive into it a lot in book 3 because there's some other characters that you'll meet that also firebend that share their stories of how they learned and stuff. Without trying to spoil season 3.
You're doing a great job. Very, very well traversed there with avoiding spoilers. I dig it. But no, I think it's a really cool point, and that brings more like credit to that episode. And I gotta agree, it's a really good one. I'm with you. What about you two boys? What we thinking? Who wants to start? What's your favorite episode?
I'll go because I don't care about Peter's favorite episode. Anyway, my favorite episode is the Winter Solstice because
Of course it is.
I mean,
This is just to spite me, honestly.
why do you think what? Okay, I now remember. It's actually not because of what you're about to say, like what you're thinking, because I'm not just a Roku stan like you think I am, Peter.
Roku simp.
But Roku simp. No, it's because like I really like how the episode or the focus on Iroh and then Zuko I think is like really great because the comedic timing is just like phenomenal. And Iroh is just like such a badass during the episode where he kind of like his first like attempt to escape when he gets like captured by like earthbenders is kind of like he says that his like shackles are like loose or whatever, and he's saying, "Oh, hey, can you tighten it up because I'm old because like it's gonna like shake up or whatever," and like kind of constantly hit my joints. And I'm like, okay, I mean, yeah, that's a very believable excuse. But obviously, I feel like the Earthbenders were kind of dumb there because it's General Iroh. He literally like almost conquered like Ba Sing Se so many years ago. But like when he does that, he like heats up like the shackles, burns like the guy's hand. Like I thought that was kind of brutal where he like grabs the earthbender's hands and like burns their like hands like on the shackle because it's like super like high temperature. And just seeing like Arrow being like an actual like badass is just like really cool. Same with like the finale where he like threatens Xiao to like not kill the spirits or whatever. And yeah, and then also the storm was like one of my favorite episodes because of what I mentioned before about how it really like humanizes like Zuko and the crew, all that stuff. Also the fisherman in that episode. I mean, he's kind of an asshole to Aang, but he honestly like really calls out Aang for like for obviously like running away like 100 years ago, and then everyone's suffering for that. And I mean, I've already talked to Peter about his mistakes and how he's not the perfect person where Peter likes to support him in, and that Roku might be not that bad at Peter, but we'll
Well,
get to that for
I
different.
will spoil something for future episodes. I
Oh,
do not
geez.
like Avatar Roku that much whatsoever. I like the
Oh, wow.
Winter Solstice episodes though. Those are good episodes. Don't get me
What
wrong.
a surprise! Wow.
Those are good episodes, but I overall don't like Roku's character. We'll probably talk about it in book 3. So
Yeah, where they
Nah,
actually
it will definitely come up. These two have very heated opinions on Avatar Roku and his role in the war. But we'll
yeah,
talk about that, and it will be
this episode.
it will
We'll
at
have that.
least be good content, even if
Hopefully,
it's an angry rage over who's right,
I'm
who's
about to show you the dragon in the west. Okay,
right.
yeah.
I'm gonna show you
Got
the
no
dragon.
dragon, bro.
All right, Peter.
All
What
right,
is your
last,
favorite
certainly
episode?
the least. What the hell was your favorite episode? Keep it short, by the way.
Well, well,
Wow. Wow, not messing around this time.
well.
Oh my
So I think
goodness.
everyone listed the best episodes of the season, in my opinion. I think for me, I think the best episodes are the last 3 episodes. I'll put them in together because that's their whole time in the Northern Water Tribe. So I
True.
think it's a great finale to the season. I really do think it was one of the best finales I've seen just like in a show period for like cutting off a season to the next. I just think it's really good. Other episodes are good, obviously, like Blue Spirit, The Deserter. Those are also good episodes. The Storm. Other episodes, in my opinion, are kind of, I wouldn't say lackadaisical, but some of them are filler, some of them are not. They, but I definitely think the quality in episodes kind of vary a lot,
The
even if they
Great
do
Divide.
serve. I mean, yeah, the Great Divide. Even if they do serve like a bigger purpose, I would say. I don't think the Great Divide serves a greater purpose, but like
No,
the
it does
episode
nothing.
where they're at the Northern Air Temple, and they meet characters.
Yeah.
So, and when they be pirates, they have a relevancy because they almost literally kill Zuko, which is an intense scene. Because oh my god, like
That was messed up,
that was
actually.
messed
Yeah.
up. Dude, they're literally bombing a boat where like a
Yeah.
16-year-old is on it.
It's like a
Yeah.
terrorist. It's that just adds to the fact that Zhao is just such a horrible person.
He's a douche.
He's such a douche.
He is
Yeah.
a douche, but I love his character.
Just
He-
That's what makes him good, right?
That's
The
true.
fact
Yeah,
that we all hate him.
exactly.
Peter really relates to him. He relates to Master
yeah, it's
Paku
very
initially, right, Peter?
Master Paku.
You're just making me like sound like
Master Paku's a racist or sexist waterbender.
Sexist, yeah.
I mean,
Making me
Peter,
sound terrible.
don't you remember the discussion we had before this? You were saying how like Master Paku is right, and
I
not
never
having.
said he was
Wow!
right.
wow.
I never
No,
said he
you-
was right. I
Whoa,
said
whoa.
that what he said was fine.
Yeah, what he said it was fine.
But I mean,
The
when
idea
I
of
said it was fine,
existing.
I mean like in the context of his culture. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Women they don't
geez.
need a waterbend, right?
Oh my god, let's please not
Fine.
let's not go into that.
let's,
Okay, all right,
yeah,
fine.
let's not. But-
Just a quick fun facts that I had.
You're
That I
labeling me
forgot
as
them.
some kind of like terrible person in today's political climate.
I mean that's not important that much. It's okay if we detract from your reputation if we slandered. But what could be, I don't know if you guys know this, but maybe like a reason for maybe like quality differences is that at least animation wise, each episode, and also even like a lot of the episodes have like different writers, different directors. But one of the there's two main animation studios, JM Animation and DR Movies, and they're actually two South Korean studios who simultaneously animated the first season. They kind of did they kind of took turns with like every other episode was done by a different studio, which may be why the animation quality and style may be noticeably different between episodes. And just to kind of like show, JM Animation doesn't have like as big of like a track record, but DR Movies, they helped with like Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Cowboy Bebop the movie, or Cowboy Bebop. Sorry, Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bob.
Cowboy Bebop the movie, the first Pokemon movie, Sonic X, Teen Titans, Justice League, the one by Bruce Timm, Young Justice, and X-Men Evolution. And one name that I saw that was like kind of surprising to see, because I more associate him with his work on Star Wars Clone Wars, is Dave Filoni, who's like regarded as kind of like a god within the Star Wars community. And he also helped with like Mandalorian. Henry, I know you are pretty big fans of like Star Wars. So I mean, I don't know if like does that name like ring a bell to you at all, or is that just kind of like, I don't know, like a nerd thing?
It might be just a nerd thing, but yeah, I don't think I've seen his name around. Like I actually never
Okay.
finished the Clone Wars. I mean I've been meaning to watch it, but I never finished it. I think I got to like season
Shit.
3 or something.
Oops.
We'll get back to
Anyway,
us on that.
he's prolific, but yeah.
Yeah.
that's
But I mean,
pretty
if you want to talk about fun facts, there's actually a lot of like other cameos in Avatar that people might not notice.
Yeah, go ahead.
The only two that I noticed, like took note of, like while I was rewatching, was that the warden from the episode Imprisoned, where Drew and like his whole village is taken as prisoners for the Fire Nation. The warden in that episode was actually George Takei. I don't know if y'all realize that.
I thought I recognized that voice, but I didn't look it up, so I'm glad you said something.
Yeah, like I as soon as I heard it, I was like, man, this is 100% George. So I looked it up to confirm. And for those that don't know, George is kind of like the guy that as people memed about in like the late 2000s with like the my.
Yeah.
But he was also in Super Ninjas and he was in the original Star Trek. And at the same time, there was also my favorite character again, Zhang Zhang. He was voiced by Keone Young, who was also in Hi Hi Buffy I'm a Yumi show. He was in Men in
Kaz,
Black
right?
3. I don't remember. Yeah, something like that. I remember seeing his face a lot in that
Kaz the
show, but I don't remember
manager,
the
like
name.
the very distinct.
Yeah, Yeah,
Asian voice.
yeah.
Th-
He
there
was also in Jake Long, American Jack and Jake Long. So
Oh,
Oh, that's
was he the
cool.
grandpa there too?
I'm actually not sure.
Funny, Dante Bosco's in that show too.
Yeah,
He's
Dante
Jake
was
Long.
actually
And the
Jake
Jonas
Long.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh
There's-
yeah, they were in the intro.
Yeah, Jonas Brothers saying the intro.
There's
Dante
actually.
Bosco. Oh, sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say on the note of cameos for Avatar was Poe's father from Kung Fu Panda.
Wait, really?
voiced the
Who do you,
Oh
character.
yeah.
who do you voice?
Who's that?
I think
I,
that
I,
was
I
season 2
recognize
though.
he was in both an episode in season 2 and he was in the Storm from season 1.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Huh.
I had to look that up when I heard his voice. I'm like, wait a second, that sounds
Yeah,
like
I
a duck
remember.
trying to sell me noodles. Who is that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's him. And I thought that was really funny. But yeah, there's a lot of voice actors that do a really good job in this show. Gotta say, gotta
Yeah.
say.
It's really cool how they brought all these like big name stars from across like the Asian, like Hollywood uh Asian scene. No,
As
the
Avatar
right
scene,
word.
yeah.
But yeah, just big name like Asian actors in Hollywood to a small time at the time kids show.
True.
I agree.
Any-
But
anything
yeah, go
you
ahead,
want to
Peter.
say? Well, before we wrap up the show, like one final question I want to ask everyone: is favorite moment from season 1? If everyone has anything that they think is the best moment.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I really like when Zuko in the final episodes is going under the water with the seals.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
It's very claustrophobic, but that just shows the lengths he's willing to go for the Avatar and for his honor back.
I
I
like how
think that was really.
confident he is.
He's
Like,
super confident, but also really dumb because who would go under that water not knowing where you come? It was like freezing water too. Worst idea ever.
he had the
But I
dragon
like
breath,
the
dude.
scene. He's not the dragon's breath. You're a liar.
He had the dragon's breath. What do you mean?
I learned that the hard way in Minecraft actually.
Very true.
Just diving into
Very
water and
true.
not knowing where to come up.
Where am
Died
I?
multiple
At least you can make
times.
like pocket air holes in Minecraft. Zuko didn't have that luxury.
Hugo could not. He should have brought a pickaxe or a shovel. The fool or a trap door. That's really funny, actually. But yeah, that'd be my favorite scene. Other than maybe like some of the Avatar states, those were pretty cool too. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, what do y'all think?
Oh,
Favorite scenes? Yeah, what do you think, Will?
Uh, I kind of want to talk about something else because I can't really think of a favorite scene. I just kind of want to say a hot take about some characters in the first season, if that's okay.
Go for it.
I
Fine.
think I think Princess Yue or whatever. Like I don't like her as a character personally. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I kind of feel like she's very obviously she has like conflict with how she is, but she kind of seemed like kind of I don't know one dimensional or something in terms of like a love interest for Sokka, just because she's like, oh, I can't be engaged to you, or I can't love you because I'm engaged. Oh,
They
it sucks or something.
they really didn't give her much to do. That is true.
Yeah, they I feel like they definitely like rushed with her character, and I know for Sokka, he feels really sad because he's like, oh man, she's pretty hot. You know, I
True.
kind of want to date her, but I don't know because at least I think later on in the series maybe they like refer
yeah.
to her again.
They
But
bring her
I
up
don't
a
know.
little bit, yeah.
Hey, that's something I wanted to mention about the show actually. So this is a point that Matt brought up when we talked about Spider-Man, and check it out. Episode 2, Face Like Wine. Well,
Spotify.
where he mentioned that in the cartoon, in the TV show, he said that he felt like they moved like really like at a fast pace, like everything was just happening. And when I was rewatching the show, I actually felt like that was going on for the most
Oh
part
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Kind of
Yeah, because
is,
like
yeah.
they do a lot of cutaways for like because they have to focus on Zuko, Zhao. Usually Zhao and Zuko are together, obviously. Katara, the Team Avatar and everything like that. So I just felt like they had to keep cutting away between them. Like especially in the finale, it was like, oh, we're in the Northern Water Tribe. Okay, I'm gonna learn waterbending. Oh, Sokka's having the romance. Oh, what's going on with Zuko and Iroh? It's just like it keeps cutting back and forth, and I just felt like I was like, oh my gosh, a lot's happening right now. And that's what I thought of. I thought of Matt's comment when I saw that.
Actually, now I kind of remember like a favorite moment. It's a very very short moment, but it's like that same episode that I was talking about before, the storm, where Zuko's trying to find his like uncle, and then like he literally like sniffs his like uncle's sandal, and then like he has like a face of disgust, and then like it plays like the music, like what happens when there's like suspense or like something like shocking is about to happen, but then he's like, "Yep, that's my uncle's like sandal because it like stinks or whatever."
Yeah.
I really like that episode, but yeah, Peter, what were you gonna say? Or I think Matt.
That's your favorite moment when Zuko sniffed
Yeah,
Uncle
that's
Ira.
right. Okay, Dane Schneider.
I just thought it was. I just thought that was like super funny. I don't know. I really like that. Not because of I have a foot fetish or something, but I do know somebody.
Yep,
who lived with someone.
That is a hot
Wait,
take. That is a hot take.
That is a hot take. I agree. What do you
My
think?
hot
Henry?
take is just that Prince Yui sucks, but that's about it.
That's fair. But yeah, Henry, what do you think? Favorite moment?
Or shitty character you don't like. That one too.
Sounds good, dude. But I think I've been trying to figure out my favorite moment for like the last 20 minutes, actually. Besides like what Matt said, the Avatar state scenes were really like they really struck out to me, especially like in the finale when he combined powers with the ocean spirit.
Turns into Kyogre.
Oh, that's
yeah.
crazy. Primal form. It's crazy. I love that scene a lot. I think it's super cool.
I think my favorite moment though would be really early on. Aang, at the end of the episode, at the end of the King of Omashu episode, he reunites with Boomy, and like him just figuring out all episode who the king actually was, like his childhood friend. Like I think that was really a heartfelt moment, and just to know that Aang isn't alone. He still has a friend from 100 years ago.
Sure, it was pretty sweet, honestly. Just like kind of
wholesome moment.
Yeah. I don't know how Boomy's still alive after 100 years, because I'm pretty sure he was the same age as Aang.
I don't think I've ever seen 100-year-old.
He's like 112 or something.
He's in great shape.
I just love like how much of a troll he is throughout the entire episode, because it's like I remember that scene where like he's saying like point to someone you want to fight, and then like it shows like these two really scary looking guys, and then he points to Boomy and he's like wrong answer or something.
Yeah, it's some super ripped old dude. Honestly, didn't really like Boomy. I thought he was super annoying. But
wow.
I'm glad you don't like him. I thought it was wholesome how they like came back together a bit, but
super fanboy over here.
Annoying. All right, Peter. What's your opinion? What's the best scene?
My favorite moment when Xiao kills the moon spirit, because you could see there's repercussions to messing with the spirits, because like they're talking about the spirit world, and I like how the last two episodes show how dangerous the spirits are, because I guess they already showed that in an episode previously, but I mean, you saw Ko, the face taker, and you also saw when Zhao killed the moon spirit. Literally, the whole world turned red and then turned black and white. It's just like very interesting. So those are my thoughts. But Matt reminded me we actually have one more question to ask everyone, and that is, if you could change one thing about the show, aka just season 1, aka just book 1 water, what would it be to make it better? Matt, you start.
I will. I can start. Yeah. I think that the best way to make season 1 better is more time with Appa, because I freaking love Appa. I think he's phenomenal. You get definitely more Appa in the later seasons, a whole episode of him even. But I think that more time with Appa would be cool. I mean, that wouldn't like save the series or whatever, but really, I don't think there's much to change for the season. I think maybe cut out the Great Divide because it's a boring episode with very little substance. But other than that, I really like the whole season. I just wish there was more Appa, I guess.
All right, I'm here to defend the Great Divide
Okay.
because
you're right.
I think the episode's entertaining, especially with like how like Katara and Sokka are having an argument at the beginning of the episode, and
Right.
then like for like, I mean, to just kind of summarize the episodes, there's like two tribes that are like having a feud, and it gets resolved because Aang makes up a lie because he's like
Oh
112
my
years
god.
old. I love that because it shows Aang is not just like one dimensional, just this peacekeeper monk. He's kind of like had enough of everyone's shit, and he's like really hungry at that point too because he had to fast, and so he just kind of makes up this lie, which sounds believable, which also like really like I don't know, like detracts away from like these two tribes like big
Dude.
figures or whatever,
Yeah.
which I love. But I mean, you got Robin in that episode, you know. What I mean, he's like the initial guy of the tribe, you know, and I realized beforehand when I was watching the show, like his voice was like that voice actor comes back up like a couple more times, and I always forgot who he was. But like now, like listening back, it's like okay, that's Robin from the Teen Titans TV show, 2006, which is also very anime esque. But I mean, I know Peter dislikes that episode just because of the giant bug monsters in there, which
Is
are
I did
that
not
also
dislike
why?
the episode. I just said the bug monsters are creepy.
Is that
yeah.
why? That's really funny, actually.
That's all I
I,
never said I disliked the episode. I actually think the episode's fine, personally.
I liked the tour guide guy especially because like he's like the earthbender and then he gets attacked because both tribes bring food, but I just love his like hysterical moments like once his like arms are broken where when the monsters come back he says stuff like they've gotten like a taste of me, they're coming back to eat me, like I don't want to die. Like I thought he was just hilarious, which is why I like the episode. Like I mean, I dislike like if I were to change something I would take out the fortune teller episode because I didn't really feel like it added too much. Like I didn't really care about it, and also why I kind of mostly skipped it. But I mean, I don't know. I would say I'd taken out that. Maybe I don't know. Like I feel like the first season is definitely like the weakest of the three, but that's because it like really sets up like a lot of world building, and like you're really seeing like the effects because like each of the books, of course, focus on like a specific element. But the first season's really like where they explore like all nations and see like what the impact is, which might be why it seems like kind of weak. And I'm not a professional. I don't know how to fix the writing, except for maybe some Avatar state. I don't know, standards that
Plot
they
hole.
wrote and guidelines. Maybe
There's no limit
defining it.
testing to Avatar State.
I mean, apparently not. So I mean, this kind of relates to me and Peter's argument about Roku and Avatar State, how OP it is. But yeah, I don't really have any
We'll
concrete
get
take.
we'll get back to that later in another
Yeah.
episode. Henry, how
What
would
are
you
your yeah, Henry? What's
fix
your
it?
what would you
How would you
fix?
fix this season?
Fix the disaster of the season.
Honestly, worst season ever. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
The the first season was definitely used as like an introduction for the target demographic and everything. But I feel like how they could have made it better. Like I don't know if it. I don't think it would have worked in their time because in 2005, a lot of it wasn't Netflix or anything. Like a lot of kids shows were just on set times during Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or like 4Kids TV or what have you. They had to structure the episodes where it was aired later in like the year or something, right? So it could be like a standalone thing and kids could just watch it whenever. So I think if it were remade today, what they could do better would just kind of structure it more as like something, I guess, something else you would see on Netflix or other streaming websites where the story arcs are more like not condensed, but there's not as much filler, and you have more time to like to explore other like sub arcs and mini arcs for different characters.
I definitely agree.
Jeez, you got to bring that in. But yeah,
We didn't
go
have
ahead.
we didn't have a single this episode, so
We do need to fill our
Two.
So
quota.
we're running this is a really long episode, but I mean it's 20 episodes per show, so I guess it makes sense. Just
Sure.
to get my take in for change, I actually would not really change much because I cannot really imagine. The only thing I really do is just add more episodes. If I were being honest, I would love to see more of the water tribes, specifically the Northern Water Tribe, some of their traditions. They did show a lot, but I still would have loved to see more of it personally. So that's just my opinion. So now that we're at the end of the episode, let's move on to our ratings. So who would like to start our ratings? Matthew.
I can start me.
Okay, Matthew.
Yeah. So I want to say that this is coming from the episode as like just the season 1. I'm ignoring all outside influence. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to anyone. That was about the amount of enjoyment I got out of it. 8 out of 10 is really strong. I think that the each episode feels like worth my time, except for maybe Great Divide. But again, it's not even like a bad episode by any television standards. So I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Really enjoy it. On to the next person. What is your rating, Will?
8.12 out of 9. 10 out of 10. Shit. Okay. I didn't really think about that specific rating, but honestly, I agree. I enjoyed it. Honestly, going back to it, I remember like season 1 being like the weaker, like one that I didn't like remember as much, but it was a lot better than I expected. Like rewatching it, and it has like those really good elements that like appear like they're more like fleshed out. So it's just like Zuko's character, Iroh's character, like those like little moments that of course are better as the series goes on, but they have like enough of those for me to really enjoy the series, considering those two are like some of my favorite characters of the show of all time. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't really think even like the episodes that I didn't like as a kid, I enjoyed them watching them now, especially like the storm. Like I don't remember that episode like at all as a kid, especially like the fisherman being like a complete dick to Aang. But I really liked it, so that's why I stick with the 8.14. Actually, we'll go with 8.14 for my rating. Peter, what is your rating for in the entire season 1, book 1, Water, Avatar, The Last Airbender?
So obviously I have two ratings. There's a number rating and the age like rating. So to give it a number rating, I would probably give it. I have a hard time saying it's a 6 out of 10. So I'll say it's either a 6 or a 7. I don't want to give it a 6.5 because it's either or for me. I think where it falls short for me, at least, I know in the beginning I said it was a lot worse than I remember. And it's not saying that the series is bad per se. It's just that I just think that it wasn't as good as I remember both times. And I think the main reason why I give it kind of flack or give it a lower rating on that front is because I don't think there's actually that much character development, along with the animation wasn't as good, the voice acting wasn't spectacular as it was in different seasons, and I don't think like the bending battles or anything were anything amazing either. And I only think the characters are the shining light. And even though I said there wasn't that much character development, I do think that characters are really the main focal point in my opinion of the show. So, and plus it's an amazing world. If I were to give it an age like rating, I give it an age like book 1 Water, where it's very flexible in what it wanted to do, wasn't afraid to take risks, and just like water, it just kept on flowing, you know?
Goes with the flow,
I
yeah.
Yeah, go
love it.
flow, my favorite avatar.
I
Yeah.
love it.
So, Henry, you're our final rating for this episode. Why don't you tell us what you think?
Take it some.
A lot of pressure being the last one to rate. I rate it. I'd say an 8 out of 10. I still really enjoyed the series, or I guess the season, even though I said that it could be restructured a little bit differently. And I think it aged pretty well, honestly, because there were a lot of sexist jokes, especially from like Sokka, but the show did well to counter those remarks with various like
True, yeah.
empowering moments. honestly, like with Katara finding Aang, like during her argument of how sexist Sokka is and how Suki kind of humiliates Sokka in a duel, like all that. And the show also does bring up a lot of modern issues, besides sexism, with like military deserting and
Racism.
ways,
Yeah.
racism, like ways to support the military, and even the episode from the fortune teller, the alternative facts actually, because the fortune teller, um, she is kind of like local god. She like tells people what to believe, and they believe her blindly. So yeah, the show brings up a lot of modern issues for kids to digest. The help of with the crew, Team Avatar,
That's really
pretty well.
really insightful point. Actually, I agree with all that you said. It really has aged well, and I gotta say, as someone watching it for the first time, as a 22-year-old man, it it handles itself very well, and it's pretty mature for its age, if you know what I mean. I think it's pretty good, worth your time at the very least. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Will, what's up?
And for next week's episode, we'll be going back to the roots of the world, the Book of Earth, Season 2 of Avatar, where Aang will be learning about the polar opposite of air, Earth. What will the inconquerable city of Ba Sing Se be like, and how will the tension of the Fire Nation, learning of where Aang will be, affect the rest of the world? Anyways, hope you can all catch us for our next week episode of Age Like Wine. And also, I'd like to give thanks to Henry for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
Appreciate you coming out, bud. It was a good time.
Pleasure having you. Next episode, we will have another friend of mine join us for Book 2 Earth, Season 2 of Avatar.
Yep. Super exciting stuff. Want to thank everybody for listening. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at ALW_podcasts, where you can always message us, give us insight on what you thought of the episodes, or give us things you'd like for us to interview. Appreciate it a lot, and hope you all stay safe out there. Thanks so much. Bye.
See you
Bye
guys later.
bye.